One way that people, and obviously including politicians, dodge questions is discrediting the accuser. And I'd like to use a real world example to make things more interesting. So the setting is the 1992 Democratic primary debate. And I didn't watch the whole thing, but I think it's like the vice president debate for the Democrats. I'm not really sure. But anyways, it's a 1992 Democratic primary debate, and Governor Jerry Brown and Bill Clinton is the subjects. And so the accusation by Brown, to summarize the different accusations that he makes, which is primed by the moderator, just so you know. But so Jerry Brown says he is funneling money to his wife's law firm for state business. So he's basically accusing him of corruption, of using money in a conflict of interest. And so uh, Bill Clinton, when the moderator says, "Hey, do you want to take a swing at this? So what's your rebuttal, essentially?" And then Bill Clinton starts off with, "I feel sorry for Jerry Brown. I served with him as governor in the late 70s." And then he says a couple more lines about how he basically is like an altruistic, helpful, loyal, and good character person that was on his side. Um, and then he goes into to his accusations on him. And one of the main ones is he says, I quote, his law firm took $178,000 of taxpayers' money. And he's basically accusing him that he took taxpayers' money to funnel to like a conflict of interest law firm as well. And so, as I mentioned earlier, this tactic is discrediting the accuser. And more specifically, he does a combo of um, first establishing moral superiority. So he established moral superiority by starting his rebuttal with, "I feel sorry for Jerry Brown." So many times the person that gets to sympathize, they feel sorry for somebody, is morally, character wise, status wise superior on the person that they're pitying. So he establishes moral superiority. Some similar ways that people do it in informal conversation is this isn't worth my time. It's a lot of I think that was said a lot when I was a teenager, when there was scuffles between us young men, and it was some kind of warnings and threats were thrown around about beating each other up. People would say, "This isn't worth my time." So it's like the other person's beneath them; they are not worth their time. But this is how it's done in more civilized places. And so he does a combo of first trying to establish moral superiority, but actually he does it too well. He does it as if he rehearsed it, and so it comes off as like a tell that he's doing some kind of deception. And so I think the moderator, though he's probably biased, is able to pick up on that, and also uh, Governor Jerry Brown is able to pick up on that real quick. So it's not really a good use or a good use or a good execution of using a combo of moral superiority and discrediting his accuser. And so, um, more specifically, he discredits his accuser Jerry Brown by moral superiority. And then he starts listing his poor character behavior. And the one that I highlighted was using $178,000 of taxpayer money unethically. Now, whether these are valid or not, the point is the tactic is to make something up or to use an actual fact, whether it's used in honesty or in a misleading way to accuse the accuser. And during his beginning statements before he gets called out, because he actually gets called out for dodging the question, using different words by Jerry Brown, and then he also gets called out by the moderator. So they turn on him essentially. They turned on him a while ago, but they turned on him, and it ends up the outcome. It ends up not working out great for Bill Clinton. He has to keep on doing more and more rebuttals because they keep on pressing him. Um, Regardless, though, like even if he pulled it off a little bit better or he used a different manipulation tactic, I don't know at this point of the debate. I just watched the clip if he was already like pretty much done and he had already had he was back was already against the wall in terms of the way that the momentum and the different moods and the different emotions developed throughout the debate thus far. It's a pretty common tactic. So um, to circle back to the main point of this, so a tactic is when somebody gets accused of some kind of poor character or somebody's talking crap on somebody. A tactic to dodge whether when they ask like, "Are you a bad?" Basically, subliminally saying, "Oh, so are you a bad person or not?" That's the question. Or they might explicitly ask like, "So tell me, did you do this or not?" One way to dodge the question is by starting to discredit the other person. And in this case, he does it. He does it in the most common and probably the most effective way by discrediting him in the same way that he got accused. So he got accused of misappropriating funds, and so he basically and he rebuttals with saying like you did that yourself, and you're the one that does it, not me. So because he accuses Jerry, Mr. Clinton, uh, uh, rebuttals Brown's accusation of funneling money with his own accusation of that he's misusing money as well. And you're the one that does it, not me. You're, if at best, a hypocrite that's trying to accuse me of something you do yourself, and I didn't do what you're accusing me. So that's what Bill Clinton is doing. And then there's one thing I actually want to point out. Okay, so he really makes it clear his tactics. So Bill Clinton, when he says in the beginning, "I feel sorry for Jerry Brown. I served with him as governor in the late 70s, making him out to look like a good guy. He's loyal." And then he starts throwing out the examples of the other person doing exactly what he's being accused of. He took $178 of taxpayer money and used it inappropriately. And then he throws out more examples, and then he says, "So I don't think you can take of much of what he says seriously." Now I stumbled, so I'll repeat that. Then he says, "So I don't think you can take much of what he says seriously." So he actually explicitly makes it known that he's giving these examples to discredit him, and that's the whole point of what he's doing. And then it ends up failing because Brown calls him out. That's, "Well, Mr. Clinton, like this is my paraphrasing. Well, Mr. Clinton, you're doing what usual. You just won't answer the question." And so he gets pressed, but in and it gets pretty hostile between the moderator, him, and his opponent. However, overall, I'd say that assuming that they were they were already hostile and he had his back a bit against the wall, he was keeping his head above water for the most part relative to the poor circumstances that he was in. I'm not gonna comment on whether he actually did these things, whether Bill Clinton funneled money to his wife's law firm in an unethical way. I'm not going to comment on whether Jerry Brown used $178,000 taxpayers inappropriately. The point of the video is to tell you about a dodging question method used by people. I hope this is informative so that you can look out for it when dealing with your own personal problems and just get a little bit more of the matrix of what's going on when politicians talk on the news, so that you can have that more interesting insight and make political media that much more of an enjoyable watch for you. Thanks.